Picture your money with a GPS, telling every dollar where to go, not asking where it went. Today on Insibook, we're breaking down Tiffany, the Budgetnista, Aliche's Get Good with Money, into a no-stress roadmap to what she calls financial wholeness. In the next few minutes, you'll learn the 10 simple steps to get stable and grow. From building a budget you can actually live with, to crushing debt, boosting your credit, stacking real savings, starting to invest, and protecting your future with the right safety nets. We'll give you quick wins, practical checklists, and word-for-word scripts you can use today. Ready to take back control? Let's get into it. It begins with a promise that doesn't sound flashy, yet feels like oxygen. Peace with money is possible, and it doesn't require genius, luck, or a six-figure salary. It starts with building a life that works on paper and in practice, where bills don't surprise you, where savings grow even when you're not thinking about them, where debt shrinks because there's a plan chewing through it day after day, and where every decision is measured against a future you actually want. The destination isn't a yacht or a life of constant upgrades. The destination is wholeness, the feeling that all the important parts of your financial life click together, support one another, and move in the same direction. You don't wander toward this feeling. You assemble it, one simple, doable step at a time, until the structure is sturdy enough to hold the rest of your life. The first move is to see money clearly, not as a fog of obligations and vague hopes, but as a flow you can map. Write down what comes in, what goes out, and what you value enough to protect in that flow. The goal is not to punish yourself with austerity. The goal is to design a yes plan. A useful budget isn't a list of things you can't do. It is a map showing exactly what you can and will do on purpose. Start by listing fixed costs, rent or mortgage, utilities, minimum debt payments, transportation, insurance, groceries, and give them a home at the top of the month. Then carve out automatic transfers for saving and investing, not as leftovers, but as non-negotiables that leave the account the day after payday. What remains is your guilt-free money, the part that lets real life feel like living. To make this real, separate your money into digital envelopes. Essential bills in one checking account, everyday spending on a debit card tied to a second account, and savings named for their jobs in a high-yield account. Giving each dollar a label is like assigning a seat at a table. No one fights when everyone knows where to sit. This plan belongs to the real you, not the idealized version that never eats out and never forgets a birthday gift. So it includes joy, just not chaos. One practical test is the noodle budget, the version of your life you could run if you had to strip to the studs for a month or two. List only true essentials: housing, utilities, groceries without frills, basic transportation, minimum insurance, and the littlest acceptable amount for phone and internet. Keep that plan nearby like a fire extinguisher. You hope not to need it, you'll be grateful to have it if you do. Knowing you can drop into a lean mode without panic is the confidence that allows generosity and fun the rest of the time. Savings are not a line item you'll get to later. They are your first defense against everything unpredictable and your most reliable source of calm. A quick starter cushion, $1,000 you can access within a day, turns flat tires and copays from credit card emergencies into ordinary inconveniences. Treat this as a sprint. Sell a few things, pause a subscription you don't love, cook at home for 2 weeks, take a short-term side gig. Once this cushion is in place, automate transfers into named buckets that match your real life. A general emergency fund that will grow into 3 to 6 months of essentials, a car repair fund, a travel fund, a gifts fund, the home maintenance fund that makes unexpected repairs far less surprising. Savings thrive when they have identities. Money labeled roof is less tempting to raid for concert tickets because you can picture the reason it exists and the mess it prevents. Debt pulls attention like a siren. It feels urgent because it is. The escape route, though, is steady and boring by design. Line up every balance with the minimum payment and interest rate. If you crave efficiency and can stick to a plan without early wins, stack payments toward the highest rate first. The math will reward you. If motivation wobbles, start with the smallest balance and gather momentum with quick victories. The psychology will reward you. Either way, call every lender and ask for help that lowers the cost of getting out. A reduced APR, a waived fee, a fixed rate plan, a hardship arrangement that pauses interest. These conversations last minutes and can save months. As one balance disappears, trap that freed up payment in your plan and point it at the next target. The magic is not a spreadsheet trick. It's the discipline of never letting a dollar drift back into your lifestyle once it has been captured for progress. Credit belongs in this story not as a villain or a hero, but as infrastructure. A strong score lowers the cost of your life. A weak one taxes every decision. Think of the score as a GPA for borrowing habits. You shape it with on-time payments, low utilization, account age, and a clean history. Automation is your friend. Set every bill to pay itself in full, or at least the minimum while you stabilize, and schedule those drafts right after payday. Keep old accounts open to preserve length of history, and nudge limits higher once or twice a year so utilization drops without spending more. If a mistake hits your report, dispute it. If a late fee appears, ask for a courtesy reversal. If you need a second chance, a secured card with a small deposit can start the clock again. The aim is not to buy more with borrowed money, but to make sure that when you do need to borrow, for a mortgage, for example, you do so on terms that feel like a handshake, not a chokehold. Income is the lever that makes everything easier. A modest raise can outrun a year of giving up small treats. Study your role and your market so you can ask for more with evidence, not apology. Document wins in real numbers: revenue brought in or protected, costs reduced, customers won, time saved, errors prevented. Share that record with your manager months before a review so the case builds in their mind. When you ask, tie your number to market data and your track record, then pause. If the answer is not yet, secure a written roadmap of what yes will require and a date to revisit. While you're executing that plan, gather external options, quietly, and learn what other companies are paying. If you freelance or own a business, package results instead of hours. Present 3 clear options so clients choose how to say yes. Raise rates for new clients first. For existing ones, deliver a win, then propose a scope that matches the value you're already creating. Earning more is not greed, it is fuel. It speeds debt payoff, thickens savings, and expands what rich life can mean. Investing turns the quiet power of time into a partner. The point isn't to outsmart the market. The point is to harness what the market does over long stretches for disciplined participants. Begin with any free match at work, money that appears because you showed up and contributed. Decide whether pre-tax or Roth contributions fit your situation better. Lower taxes now or tax-free withdrawals later. Next, route money into individual retirement accounts if you can, then into a plain brokerage for goals beyond retirement. Keep choices simple. One broad fund that tracks a large swath of stocks, a companion that steadies the ride with bonds as you age, or a target date fund that auto-adjusts on a preset schedule. Automate contributions to leave your wallet the day after payday. Automation is the guardrail between you and your impulses. Avoid tinkering. If markets drop, the plan didn't change. Prices did. You are a buyer with a long horizon, not a commentator. An annual check-in is enough to rebalance back to your target mix. The friction you remove from investing is the reward you keep. Protection gets less applause because it deals in what-ifs, not victories, but it is the safety net that lets you take risks elsewhere. Health insurance blocks medical bills from undoing a decade of careful living. Term life insurance replaces income, so dependents can grieve without scrambling. You buy it for a window of time, not forever, and you keep it simple and cheap. Disability insurance matters because your ability to earn is your largest asset. It pays a portion of income if you can't work due to illness or injury. Adequate auto and homeowner or renter coverage turns crashes and storms into deductible-level annoyances instead of catastrophes. Liability coverage, often tucked into these policies or sold as an umbrella, protects what you've built from an accident that becomes a lawsuit. Insurance does not make you money. It keeps you from losing it in chunks so big you cannot recover. You will resent it until the day you need it, and then you will call it grace. Numbers become more meaningful when they roll up into a single picture. Net worth, the gap between what you own and what you owe, tells you if the wind is at your back. It is not a contest, it is a compass. Track it quarterly. Watch liabilities shrink as balances vanish. Watch assets grow as savings and investments accumulate. The number will wobble with markets, but the trend over years should tilt upward if your plan is working. Use this metric to guide decisions. A new car that drops your net worth on day one might be worth it if it buys reliability for a decade. A house purchase that looks glamorous but swallows your cash flow will show up as stress in this number long after the closing photos disappear. Seeing the whole picture reduces the temptation to judge yourself by monthly bank balances or social media snapshots. At some point, complexity justifies expertise. A money team is not a status symbol. It is a practical response to the limits of time and knowledge. A fee-only planner can act like a coach, helping align your moves with your goals without incentives to sell you products you don't need. A certified public accountant can navigate taxes, freeing you to focus on earning and living. An attorney can draft documents you hope you rarely think about, but will be grateful to have. A will that states where your assets go and who handles the process. A durable power of attorney that assigns someone to act for you if you can't. And healthcare directives that put your wishes in writing. If you run a business, the team expands. A bookkeeper who makes your numbers timely and tidy. An insurance broker who right-sizes coverage as you grow. A payroll service that eliminates compliance nightmares. These people don't replace your responsibility. They multiply your effectiveness. Legacy feels far away until life reminds you it isn't. The money you worked so hard to manage should move easily to the people and causes you care about. Beneficiary designations on retirement accounts and insurance policies bypass probate drama. Updating them after big life events is an act of love. A simple will prevents relatives from guessing at your intentions. Trusts can add control or privacy if your situation calls for them. If you have children, name guardians you trust and back that choice with life insurance, so no one is choosing between your wishes and their wallet. Document where things are. Account lists, policy numbers, passwords stored with a secure manager, contacts for your money team. Put this packet in a safe place and tell the right people how to reach it. Then live the rest of your days with the relief that you replaced uncertainty with clarity. All of these pieces work better when they are stitched together by habits that respect both math and mood. A weekly money check-in takes 15 minutes. Open the accounts, make sure automations ran, track a tiny win, and confirm the next bill. A monthly date with your numbers sets the coming 30 days. Adjust for birthdays or travel, send extra to the current debt target, tweak the grocery envelope if guests are coming. A quarterly review captures the bigger themes, progress on net worth, whether your savings buckets match what's actually happening, whether it's time to requote insurance or ask for a raise. None of this is meant to consume your life. The structure exists, so the rest of your life is freer. The emotional side of this work is not an afterthought. Money carries stories, early messages about what is allowed, shame about mistakes, fear of looking ignorant, pride that resists help. Wholeness acknowledges those feelings without handing them the steering wheel. When panic rises, the noodle budget offers a calm path. When guilt whispers about buying something you love, the plan answers, there's a category for that. Enjoy it. When envy flares at someone else's highlight reel, your net worth chart supplies a quieter truth. You're ahead of last quarter, on track for next year, and the life you're building fits you. Learn your triggers and diffuse them with scripts. At a store. If it's not in the plan, I'm leaving it. With friends. That's not in my budget this month, but I can do coffee on Saturday. With yourself. I made a mistake. I forgive it and fix the system that allowed it. Community multiplies progress. Money talks at home become normal rather than tense when they are scheduled and brief. If you share finances with a partner, agree on a threshold above which you both pause before purchasing. Give each person a no-questions fund. It prevents resentment and restores autonomy. If incomes differ, fairness can mean proportional contributions to shared bills and equal personal allowances. If you blend families or rebuild after a setback, the plan flexes. Choose 3 values to go big on together and cut all the rest without apology. Teach children with transparency, scaled to their age. Show how groceries fit the budget, how an envelope fills, how a savings account grows, and what it's for. They absorb calm faster than lectures. Housing, transportation, and food are the boulders in most budgets, and nudging them wisely does more than tweaking pebbles. The best house is the one that leaves margin for the rest of your life. Renting is not throwing money away. Buying is not always equity magic. If you buy, plan to stay long enough for transaction costs to make sense, keep your payment conservative, and keep cash aside for the never-ending list of little things a home asks for. If you rent, negotiate at renewal with data on comparable listings, loyalty, and kindness. A small discount echoes for 12 months. Cars are tools, not trophies, unless cars are your chosen indulgence. A reliable paid-for vehicle keeps savings intact and stress low. Food rewards planning. A simple rotation of meals, a pantry you actually use, and a system for leftovers turns hundreds saved each month into debt, knocked out, or goals funded without feeling deprived. When a crisis hits, job loss, illness, a family emergency, you do not invent a plan. You shift to the one you prepared. Activate the noodle budget, pause non-essential sinking funds, call lenders immediately and ask about hardship options. File for benefits you qualify for. Prioritize the most critical bills. Cash is no longer a number on a screen. It is days of peace. If the crisis stretches, you have a timeline measured in months of essentials, not weeks of dread. When stability returns, rebuild the cushion before resuming aggressive investing. There is no shame in recovery. There is strength in knowing exactly how to do it. As the system runs, small tactical wins stack into real money. A 5-minute call knocks off a fee. A scripted request for a lower rate saves interest. Switching to an annual plan for a service you use lowers the price. A well-timed certification multiplies earning potential. A seasonal audit of subscriptions cancels what you forgot you were paying for. A weekend of selling the unused frees both space and cash. These are not the point of your life. They are the easy edges that polish what the main plan already accomplishes. You're not couponing your way to wealth. You're eliminating friction. Richness, in this framework, is deeply personal. One person's dream is an annual international trip. Another's is paying their parents' property taxes forever. Another's is a home library and a porch where every Sunday dinner happens. There is room for all of this, because the plan protects priority spending instead of smothering it. Identify your money dials, the categories that light you up: travel, health, convenience, generosity, luxury, time, and turn those up without guilt, while turning down the ones you don't care about. The trick is honesty. If everything matters, nothing does. Focus turns a finite income into a satisfying life. Eventually, you notice that the loudest things about money have gone quiet. Bills pay themselves. Savings inch upward whether you remember them or not. Debt balances fall in a rhythm you can predict. Your credit score sits high enough to be uninteresting. Salary conversations feel like business, not pleading. Investing is a habit, not a headline-driven gamble. Insurance premiums annoy you and then you shrug, because you remember the alternative. Net worth ticks up, not every month in a straight line, but year over year in a way that makes you proud without making you careless. You stop bracing when you check your accounts. That feeling, steady, unhurried, clear, is financial wholeness doing its job. From this place, you can afford to be generous in ways that once felt like fantasy. You can pay cash for a niece's summer program or quietly keep a friend's lights on for a month. You can choose a smaller paycheck for work that fulfills you or a new venture that might take time to prove itself. You can gift your future self a sabbatical and mean it. You can sweep up old assumptions about money and replace them with intentions. Who gets what when you're gone? How much is enough? Where joy fits, where rest fits, where ambition fits. None of it requires perfection. It requires a series of simple systems that serve you even when you're tired. If you stumble, an impulse trip that empties the wrong bucket, a missed payment that dings your score, a lull in investing while you sorted life out, you don't declare failure, you diagnose. Which automation failed? Which trigger needs a better script? Which habit needs more friction or a reminder? Then you fix the system so it doesn't break the same way twice. The great power of this approach is that it forgives mistakes by design, because progress is built into the calendar, not your willpower on a hard day. There will be seasons when you speed up because energy is high and the target is near, and seasons when you slow down because life asked for your attention elsewhere. Wholeness bends with those rhythms. The emergency fund grows in good times and steadies the hard ones. Debt payments surge when you land a raise and hold the line when you're between contracts. Investments click forward in the background no matter what the headlines say. Your money team tunes the plan when tax laws shift or family structures change. You keep what works, retire what doesn't, and never let pride stop you from asking a basic question or making a call that saves you money. In the end, the most startling difference isn't the size of an account, although that will change. It's the day you realize money has become boring in the best way. The drama is gone. The shame is gone. The constant second-guessing is gone. You built a routine that handles the tedious parts and funnels energy toward what matters. You spend without guilt on the priorities you chose. You decline without excuses the invitations that don't fit. You know where your next step is because the plan told you a month ago. Peace feels like this: clarity before the month starts, calm during the month, and choices at the end that look like you. All of it grows from simple moves anyone can make. Say yes to a budget that reflects your real life. Give your savings names and pay them first. Put debt in a line and knock balances down in the order that keeps you moving. Treat your credit history as an asset that lowers the cost of your goals. Point some of your energy toward earning more and let the rest of your plan multiply those gains. Invest automatically in broad, low-cost funds and leave them alone. Buy insurance so bad days don't become bad years. Measure progress with net worth, not envy. Bring in professionals when stakes or complexity rise. Put your wishes into documents so the people you love aren't guessing later. Then live, fully, kindly, intentionally, because money is finally doing what it was always meant to do: support a life you recognize as your own. The journey doesn't need a grand finale. The reward arrives along the way. It looks like groceries that don't frighten you, a doctor visit that doesn't become a catastrophe, a bill you pay without flinching, a weekend trip you enjoy because the travel bucket insisted on it months ago. It looks like the day your credit score becomes a number you barely check because nothing threatens it. It looks like the evening you and your partner high-five over a debt balance that hit zero and then order takeout with money designated for celebrating progress. It looks like a child who grows up thinking budgets are normal, and generosity is too. It looks like a home that fits your finances and your spirit. It looks like quiet mornings and easy sleep. That is how wholeness feels. Not splashy, not smug, but deeply secure. The steps remain small, the habits remain boring, and the outcomes remain extraordinary. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be consistent long enough for the compounding to move from invisible to undeniable. Keep the vision of your life front and center. Keep the systems humming, forgive the stumbles, and let time do what time does. Before long, you'll look around at a life that's good with money, not because you chased shortcuts, but because you built the kind of order that invites freedom in and asks chaos to leave.